Hello everyone, this is Mausam Pandya, your course instructor for semester 5 IC. The subject is measurement in industries and we will be taking the topic stress and strain relationship under the unit strain measurement. Now, the most important words are here stress and strain. So, what is stress for us? We have actually come across this word in daily life and we say, I feel stressed, I feel loaded, and I feel broken. So what are these stress and the words broken and loaded and pressurized? So technically speaking, similar way we can implement these words in engineering as well. And let me tell you, stress is loading, strain is deformation after loading. So let us see technically how we define, how we try to understand stress. So fundamental types of loadings are, like you must have studied this during your school days or in first year of engineering. Let us revise very quickly. The first one is compression, where we see compressive forces are applied in one axial direction. Opposite to which, that is tensile force, we say tension, elongation in one direction. Shear force, then torsion, it is like twisting at the two different ends, like twisting in the two opposite direction. And another is bending, where we bend from the two ends, like making arrow and bow. So what is stress and how we define it now? Let us see here, taking a beam, one cylindrical beam having original length, that is L0, and cross section area is A0. And if we apply here tensile force in axial direction as we have shown. So what is stress here? Stress is actually force acting across unit cross section area in the right angle direction. It is having the unit of pressure only. So force and original cross section area as SI units, the Newton for the force and meter square for cross section area. So force applied to a material divided by material's cross section area, that is defined as stress. And the simple formula sigma is equal to F upon A0 mathematically if we speak. Now let us come to the another term, strain. What is strain for us? So it is actually deformation, as I said. Simply you can remember as deformation after loading. The deformation may be compressive, the deformation may be tensile. So here once again we see the same diagram. F force is applied, tensile force is applied, and now you observe there is change in length, that is delta L. See, right now we are not considering the effect on the cross section area, and we will soon talk about the effect in the x direction, in the y direction, and in z direction. So right now we are not talking about two-dimensional idea, we are just talking about one dimensional, that is the length. And here you observe the length is delta L, which is increased due to tensile force. So now what is strain? It is deformation or displacement in material, that is result due to application of stress, the different type of loading. And we are right now considering compressive or tensile type of loading. formula, epsilon is equal to L minus L0, that is we say delta L, change in the length due to application of stress, divided by original length L0. And once again defining the usual notations that we are using, epsilon L and L0 respectively, strain, length after load is applied, and original length. So the strain is actually a dimensionless quantity. Usually it is measured in meter per meter or micrometer per meter with respect to the change in the length, if we talk about the one dimensional idea here. So you can say strain is an internal force generated within the solid to counter the externally applied force per unit cross section area. Means if you apply stress, and internal forces will be generated to counter it, and that will be called strain. Okay, let us go further towards the stress and strain relationship in terms of mathematical equations. Further, one more parameter, that is Young's modulus, that we need to understand. And what is Young's modulus? That is measure of the stiffness of a solid material. So relationship between stress, that we see force per unit area, and strain, that is the proportional deformation in material in linear elastic limit. When you deform one rubber band, so if you elongate it, if you leave it once again, it will come to its original position, but it will have certain deformation that probably we cannot observe. Okay, we cannot observe probably. So we say it is in linear elastic limit, where you increase the stress and strain will be there. If you decrease the stress, proportionally deformation will decrease. And the Young's modulus is given by sigma A upon epsilon A kilonewton per meter square. Even somewhere you will find kg per meter square. That's all fine. So what is sigma A? What is sigma A? That is axial stress, and epsilon A, that is axial strain. So stress to strain, that ratio, that is known as Young's modulus, and this will be very useful to derive the relationship between stress and strain further. Where, as I said earlier, Young's modulus, that is capital E here we are using, and sigma, both are having a unit of pressure, that is force per unit cross section area, and while epsilon is dimensionless. So Young's modulus are typically so large that they are expressed in, say, megapascal or gigapascal terms. So this is to be remembered for a while. Now third term we are introducing here is Poisson's ratio. So what is Poisson's ratio? Once again, let us take one cuboid. Now we are gradually entering toward the three-dimensional idea, and if we apply force in the axial direction, say here we are applying tensile force, what will happen to x axis? what will happen to y-axis direction, what will happen to z-axis direction. Now let us take an example of rubber band. What happens when we stretch it? As you see in the screen, stretch it, what happens? Thickness will compressed. Similarly, let us take cuboid. This orange color cuboid I have shown you, and if you apply the compressive force in the longitudinal axis, then x and y axis both will have deformation, that is strain. Now gradually we are moving towards 3-dimensional idea, and here we are now applying tensile force. Now if we apply tensile force in the longitudinal axis, now what will happen to x-axis and y-axis? So there will be strain in all three directions, x, y and z. So Poisson's ratio tells us how much the material will deform in the lateral direction. So again our cuboid is there. We apply longitudinal force in the x-axis direction, and now we see what happens to y and z. So here I have shown the length Lx, Ly and Lz. Now deformation is delta Lx by 2 because it is on the both the side, so I have divided by 2. Similarly delta Ly by 2, delta Lz by 2, and this way by definition what is strain? Epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z, that is epsilon is change in length to the original length, that is delta L upon L as our definition. Once again have a look at these equations. Epsilon x, that is delta Lx upon Lx, and in remaining two axes, epsilon y and epsilon z, they are having negative sign. So keep in mind, we will discuss the significance of the negative sign, and actually negative sign shows the compression or deformation in the lateral axis. Here we are applying longitudinal force in the x-axis direction, and it is tensile force. So as epsilon is your strain here in three different axes, x, y and z. So surprisingly, as we understood that epsilon x will be responsible for epsilon y and epsilon z, and for material the ratio remains constant as you see on the screen. Poisson's ratio, that is lateral strain to longitudinal strain, and it's given by Simon Denis Poisson. He was a scientist who introduced this Poisson's ratio. Now, significance of negative sign that we see here as 0.3 if Poisson's ratio, the sign here is identified as mu, is 0.3 means lateral is shown here minus 3% and longitudinal shown as 10%. This is the interpretation of the Poisson's ratio here, and now you understand it is actually giving the lateral strain to longitudinal strain, that you remember this ratio. Let us go further, and we must clarify that we accept this entire concept for isotropic material, where isotropic means in every direction the material has the same characteristics. Okay, and as earlier I mentioned, we will be operating in elastic limit only. So stress versus strain, if you relate, there will be a region where this is the region where stress and strain is having linear relationship, and we accept that we will be operating in this only. So mu is equal to lateral to longitudinal strain. Now let us go further into three-dimensional idea, and we will be deriving some equations here. So let us say sigma x, that is the our x-axis, and that is our stress. And from the definition of Young's modulus, we had capital E is equal to sigma x upon epsilon x, and here the relationship you see here, that is epsilon y is equal to mu into epsilon x, epsilon z is equal to mu into epsilon x. Yes, negative sign is there because they are lateral strain. So we will be combining these three terms to derive further relationship. Now, if you consider only x-axis, it will be not sufficient. It will be not sufficient for remaining y and z. Okay, so here we will be applying superposition theorem, and we will be combining all three strain, x direction, y direction and z direction here. So minus mu into sigma y upon E minus mu into sigma z upon E, and this will give you the three-dimensional idea here. Similarly, if we go ahead by taking 1 by E common and simplifying the equation, so the set of equation you see epsilon x, epsilon y and epsilon z, and the equation contains stress in the x direction, stress in the y direction, stress in the z direction, and by using the Poisson's ratio and Young's modulus here, that is known as generalized. Now let us go further with our derivation, as we have got equation in previous slide. Epsilon x is equal to 1 upon E sigma x minus mu into sigma y plus sigma z. Okay, then y-axis, the equation was z-axis strain, the equation was sigma x plus sigma y. These are the three equations we got. Now if you rearrange them, say equation 1, we rearrange equation 1, what you will get, that let us shift the side of Young's modulus, that will give you sigma x minus v or mu sigma now rearranging sigma x is equal to mu term will be shifted on the right hand side, and so that we can write this equation. Same way, we can write down further two equations. Sigma y is equal to the modulus E epsilon y plus mu into sigma x plus sigma z, and sigma z is equal to E into epsilon z plus mu into sigma x plus sigma y. Okay, now let us go for so for two-dimensional system, if you see, z-axis will be 0. Okay, so this will be removed, hence we say sigma z component will be 0, hence epsilon z will be removed. So our equations that we show here, our equations, these equations, they'll become sigma x is equal to epsilon x plus mu into sigma y, and similarly sigma y x. Now from this, if we rearrange here, sigma x is equal to epsilon. Now we will substitute this value, okay, here. So that will be here we substitute x. Okay, so let us go further. Sigma x is equal to, so let us more simplify. This will be multiplied. Sorry, little bit easy to write. And this will be square. This will be square. Now rearranging this, sigma x minus v square sigma x. We are taking this term on this side. So that will give you taking E common, you will get sigma x plus mu into epsilon x plus mu into y. Okay, so taking sigma x common, here we will get the final equation. So let us go for the slide. New one. So finally we had got here sigma x into 1 minus mu square is equal to epsilon into epsilon x plus mu into epsilon y. Let us rearrange this equation. 1 mu square into epsilon x plus epsilon y. So this will be the final equation for x direction, the stress and strain relationship. And same way we can write down for sigma y upon 1 minus mu square into epsilon y plus mu into epsilon x. So this relationship is to be remembered by you. So here we finally received these two equations, and this was the today's topic. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, any query, you will be able to send me an email that is shown in my entire video on the bottom part, and I will be replying. Thank you so much.